Hi everyone. Today I want to kind of go deeper with the topic of living in alignment with yourself, something that I've touched upon in my previous videos, and namely connected to MBTI this time, and more specifically to the NT types, or the rationals or the intellectuals according to the temperament theory. I'm going to explore a little bit about what I've noticed can really make NT types happy, especially in their career. What makes NT types feel that they are accomplished, they are in alignment, they are doing authentic things, and that they can shine. So all about that in the next few minutes. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. So, speaking of the temperament theory, of David Kersey's temperament theory, I'm going to connect this specifically today for the NT types, or the rationals, the intellectuals, and what really brings them satisfaction in their career life. I'm not going to give necessarily a very concrete and specific career direction, because I believe it's less about that and more about what their career life symbolizes to them. NT types are often called system thinkers, and they are probably the best types at working with systems, understanding systems, and strategizing around systems. Now, of course, there are certain fields, certain industries, certain professions where this is a bit more obvious, like they can do this a little bit more, like engineering or software development or architecture, something where you have a more obvious, clear system that you work with. But it really doesn't have to be that. You can literally find systems in anything. You can find systems when you're a manager of a big company. You can find systems when you work as a psychologist. You can find systems when you work as a teacher, as a sales representative, as a HR professional, marketing professional, and so on. What the NT types bring into the world is a deep awareness of how systems work. They are very good at noticing systems, and they are very good at improving those systems at a large scale, or working with a big picture of that system, in order to make sure that whatever they're trying to create in the world is in alignment and makes sense and is sustainable and is something that is useful long term. I've heard this a lot, not just from the theory on the temperaments, which clearly also references this, but I've actually heard this a lot from NT types in coaching sessions and in my personal life. There's almost this instinctual urge, even in those who don't know their type or don't know about type, in trying to look for that spark within the work that they do that enables them to take a step back, look at the big picture, and strategize. NTs are not satisfied when they need to work in the very nitty-gritty details for a very long time. They can do it, especially the NTJ types, because the TE can also help them to kind of go in that direction. But still, after some time, they feel drained, they feel bored, they don't find satisfaction in the work that they do. It's not in alignment enough with their core self, with their essence. So it's almost like they are always looking for a way to understand better how the system works, what is wrong with it, what can be improved, and more so, what will be their legacy. So a lot of them, some might be more ambitious than others, some might be more self-confident than others, but deeper in their core self, there seems to often be this need to really find that, connect with that, and make sure that once they finish working, once they retire, once they are out of their field, basically, they can leave something behind. That the work that they do will remain to be important and will be appreciated and will continue to have a positive impact on how things are done. NT types are considered to be utilitarian types, or also abstract types. So this combination means that the abstractness brought about by the intuition allows them to take that step back, look at the big picture, and draw out the important components rather than digging too deep into the details. And then the utilitarian approach that they have means that they really care about the practicality of their ideas. They care about the fact that if they do understand the system, they do make that system work, they do strategize around it, that what they do doesn't just stay at an idea level, but it actually works in the practical life in a way that is sustainable and consistent. Now, if we kind of break it down into two different groups, the NTJs and the NTPs, I've noticed that the NTJs seem to more naturally find ease into doing this, and this is probably because of their interaction styles and their cognitive functions. They seem to more naturally fall into this role and stay with it for a longer period of time. On the other hand, the NTPs sometimes get annoyed at themselves and they feel like they are not consistent enough in the work that they do. And I hear this particularly from ENTPs, but INTPs too sometimes, where they have the idea, they know what they want, they have a clear pattern in mind in terms of what kind of system they want to create or improve, but they might get distracted, they might get bored, they might feel like doing something else in the meantime, and then this pattern keeps repeating to them, and so they get frustrated and they feel like, okay, this is not really working for me, I'm not really able to implement this and function long term. However, back to the NTJs, even though they do seem to have more ease in sticking to their plan and taking those things to completion when it comes to the system thinking and the strategizing, there's something a bit deeper there that also can cause trouble for NTJs. And this is their need to impress and their need to perform. Because of TE, I sometimes find that NTJs are a bit more likely to want the system that they create to impress others, to gain some sort of more practical recognition. Maybe if they work in a corporation of some sort, they want to check those KPIs a bit more maybe than the NTPs want to. They want to get that concrete recognition in terms of a promotion or a salary increase or praise from their managers or clients. And so sometimes this can pull them a bit away from that essence of really connecting with their values and their vision and creating or improving the system. So we have two different patterns, the NTJs and the NTPs, who both have their strengths and their insecurities or weaknesses. And what I think is incredibly cool is that these types can work together and they can actually help each other deal with the aspects where they might feel a little bit more insecure. So the NTJs can help the NTPs by holding them accountable, by creating more structure, by making sure that things do get completed. And the NTPs can inspire the NTJs to stay true to themselves, because even though the NTPs don't have a preference for FI, and they might be even more disconnected from FI than the NTJs, they also don't have the TE as such a strong function. So they are more connected to the truth of their TI. And this is something that can be quite inspiring for NTJs in remaining connected to that intellectual, rational pursuit of what kind of system really works for them and what really inspires them and what they really like doing. So even though sometimes you can find some clashes between these two types, I find that in business, working together can be a tremendous opportunity for all of these types to showcase their strengths and connect to what they really like doing, and at the same time to work on their weaknesses or to partner up with somebody who can help them compensate for those weaknesses, at least to a certain extent. Okay, so these were my thoughts on how the NT types can find their passion and their spark in the work that they do, and what are some of the things that they might struggle with, and also how, of course, they can help each other. I hope this was an interesting video for you. I'm going to make more videos on the other three temperaments and link their core interest and core essence to the workplace. So more about that in the next few videos. Also, I just wanted to remind you guys that I'm a self-awareness coach with a background in psychology and psychotherapy, and I support individuals in connecting with their truth, with their vision, their values, their personality, and creating a life on their own terms. So if this sounds interesting to you, feel free to check out the link in the description below. It will take you to my website and you can find out more. And again, thank you very much for being with me. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again.